Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Joining me today is Ian Scott, the UK Director of Ajman Tourism. Thank you for joining us, Ian.
My pleasure.
So we at Selling Travel are delighted to have partnered with Ian and Ajman Tourism this year to produce the first agent-dedicated guide to Ajman, which is the smallest of the United Arab Emirates, but by no means the least fascinating. The guide is out now, so you can access that the e-magazine on our website at sellingtravel.co.uk/magazines. And the guide is packed full of useful information and selling tips, and hopefully it will help you get an insight into this emirate. But we thought we would have a chat with Ian and get a more personal take on the destination from him. So that's the idea of this. So Ian,
Yes.
I'm sure you won't mind me mentioning, and many of our viewers will already know, that you worked with Dubai Tourism for some time.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that Dubai, for many years at least, was the kind of the best known emirate. And that's obviously changed now. We've got Abu Dhabi, Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah are all promoting themselves to the trade as attractive alternatives to Dubai or twin centre options. Where do you place Ajman within that? How would you like agents to sell Ajman?
So Ajman, first thing for me to say really is that I joined the Ajman Tourist Board about 2 years ago. And so we were quite late to the table. So you're right in saying that other Emirates are now becoming well known, especially like Ras Al Khaimah as one of the sort of the outside of Dubai and Abu Dhabi, if you like. Ras Al Khaimah has done a pretty good job, and so Ajman is just a little bit behind the curve in terms of the timing with that. So we're promoting Ajman as not as an alternative to Dubai. You can't compare the two. Ajman is 12 miles from Dubai airport. It's about half an hour. So it's the closest, other than Sharjah actually, but the closest non-dry emirate, let's put it that way, to Dubai airport. And so instead of going right down Sheikh Zayed Road towards the Palm, you go left, you go to through Sharjah and to Ajman. So half an hour later you're there. But then it's a very, very different place. And so I'm not trying to say to anybody, instead of Dubai, sell Ajman instead. It's just look at what we've got to offer. It's very, very different from Dubai, but it's still close enough to get into Dubai if you want to go out for dinner or watch the fountains or anything else. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to define what Ajman is and what it stands for that's different from Dubai.
Okay. And what kind of travellers will Ajman appeal to? Who's going to be your sort of main target market?
Well, it's 5-star luxury hotels. It's on a natural sandy beach. It's got lots of activities, which I'm sure we'll talk about, that people can do. I think that the majority of the customers that are coming, certainly from the UK to Ajman, have either been to Dubai before, and so whilst they value the culture and the winter sunshine and the accessibility with Emirates, they want to do something a little bit different. I think that's one customer. There are others that might just be a little bit pinched on the price with Dubai, because it can be expensive in Dubai, and Ajman you'll typically find to be about 15 to 20% better value than a holiday in Dubai. And I also think there's people that they've not really thought about Dubai, and Dubai doesn't appeal to them. And there's the big highway, and it's noisy, and it's full of tourists and full of expats and so on. And so they might want to still take advantage of the flying and the winter sun, but don't really want to go to Dubai. So Ajman is a great alternative for somebody who wants that Middle East holiday that doesn't want Dubai. It's because we're so different from Dubai that it's just understanding those differences and then appealing to those people that don't want to go to Dubai.
Sure. Okay. And for travellers who when they arrive in Ajman, what can they expect? Like, what kind of feel does it have? How does it contrast to Dubai again?
Yeah. And the comparisons with Dubai are obvious because you're flying into Dubai, and it's the emirate that people know best probably. So you'll find it's small. It's the smallest of the 7 emirates, as you mentioned at the start. And so in total we have 3,500 rooms in the whole of Ajman, which is about 2 hotels in Dubai. So it's very, very small. You'll find that as a tourist, you're outnumbered by local people. So as you're going out and about to the museum or the souk or the restaurant or whatever you're doing, you'll find that you, as a tourist, you're the minority, and it's quite nice in that sense. You'll be meeting a lot of local people. The restaurants, the local shops, cafes are all run, managed, and owned by local people. So that's a big difference from Dubai as well. And you'll just find that it feels more like a village or a town than a city, if you know what I mean, because you can walk around. It's small enough to be able to walk from your hotel to the shops, to the museum, to the souk, and just walk back. And you're done. So it's not like Dubai, where if you want to go to the museum, for example, you need to make a bit of a plan for the day and organize transportation.
Okay. And when you say when you arrive, are you arriving, you're arriving in a city? Is it one location really where you would stay as a tourist?
Sort of. There are three areas that you might stay. The majority of the UK tourists will be staying on the private beach. So it's a white natural sandy beach, and you've got the Fairmont there, you've got the Ajman Sarai Hotel there, the Ajman Hotel, which used to be the Kempinski, for those that remember that hotel. And they're all on private beaches, and they've got a short walk to the museums and the souks. You've also then got Al Zora as an area, which is about a 10-minute drive away. This is where the mangroves are, the flamingos, water sports are there, and that's where the Oberoi Hotel is, and that's got its own huge private beach. And then there are one or two hotels either in the city or on the Corniche that don't have private beach, but do have access to other private areas on the public beach.
Okay. And so you say it's kind of got more of a sort of village or town atmosphere. So do you still, I'm just thinking about landscapes, do you still have the high rises? Do you still, obviously you still have the desert?
Yeah. Well, no, we don't have the desert actually, because we are the geography is quite unusual in that we're surrounded by Sharjah. So we're on the coast, we're on the sea, we've got the natural beach. If you want to go into the desert, you can do from Ajman, but you'll be going into Sharjah's desert or into Dubai's desert actually. I've forgotten your question actually. What was your, can you ask your question again? Sorry.
I guess I was just trying to picture it in my mind.
Yeah, the high-rise buildings.
Yeah.
Sorry. So yeah, there are some, but as I say, we're so small, we're such a small emirate that along the Corniche there are some towers, but we're not talking Burj Khalifa kind of towers. We're not like Dubai in that sense. And in fact, most of the developments in places like Al Zora, which I mentioned, and also an area called Al Masa, which is a shopping area just in front of the Fairmont and the Ajman Sarai, those hotels, they're very low rise. They're designed to be low rise.
Okay.
And they are, in many cases, sort of converted shipping containers that have been turned into coffee shops, retail, different retail outlets.
Okay.
So there's very little, not much high rise.
Okay, so it sounds different, and it sounds. Would it be fair to say that it's a more traditional kind of Arabic feel to everything?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in Dubai, for the traditional Arabic stuff, you need to get a taxi or a transportation to go into the old town. Whereas in Ajman, it's a bit more everywhere. Yeah. And you can just, as I say, you can walk from your hotels out onto the street, and you're immediately immersed into local life and local culture. Yeah.
Okay, great. So a couple of things that you touched on that I'll just ask you to expand on. So the first would be you mentioned the hotels. So there's some big name hotels there, aren't there? So there's quite a choice. And it's all high end, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, there are 3-star hotels. We've got some 4-star hotels just off the Corniche, but the Fairmont, the Ajman Sarai, which is a Marriott Luxury Collection hotel, and the Oberoi, for example, they're all 5-star luxury hotels. They're licensed, so we're not a dry emirate. Sharjah, you probably know, is a dry emirate. We're not. There are some dry hotels, but the ones I've mentioned are not dry. And so, yeah, in terms of socially, however, it's, in terms of drinking and things, and even eating out, we're so small that if you're going to go out, there are places that you can find and places that you can choose from, but it's not like Dubai in that, where should we go for dinner tonight? We've got 1,000 options. It's not like that. So you can stay in your hotel. There are some local restaurants, but otherwise, you can easily get a free shuttle bus into Dubai.
Okay, great. And the other thing that you touched on was, well, you mentioned the mangroves. So it sounds like there's quite interesting natural attractions in Ajman. Could you expand on that?
Yeah, so the nature is one of our key selling points, really, because I think had we been a different emirate, had we been Dubai, for example, they would have developed that area and built hotels and other things, but that's not happened in Ajman. So those mangroves have been there for thousands and thousands of years. They're natural, and a natural creek runs through them as well. And so as a tourist, the best thing you can do is take a kayak from a company called Quest for Adventures. And it takes about 2 hours, but you'll go through, you'll learn about the mangroves, you'll be so peaceful, it's so quiet. There's about 60 species of birds that you can look out for, and the guides can show you what's what and what the birds are. And then at the end of that journey, you'll find the resident flamingos as well. And they're not fed to stay there; they choose to stay there. There are flamingos in Dubai that they're sort of reared, if you like, to stay there, but the ones in Ajman are not. So they choose it as a natural home because it's so quiet and so peaceful, even though it's so close to one of the world's biggest airports.
Wow, amazing. And is it guaranteed pretty much that you'll see these flamingos?
I don't think they use the word guarantee, but I've done it many times, and I always have, and you always do. You always do. So it's something that you can sort of rely on, I think. And the same company, actually, Quest for Adventures, in the same area, they've got lots of water sports as well. So you can go on like a cable park. So you can do water sports activities where you're towed by a cable rather than by a boat. So it's very safe, and it's quite reassuring as a parent. And you can just watch them, the kids or older kids have a good water sport time.
Okay. And going back to the kind of green theme as well, does Ajman have a sort of sustainable travel policy or anything like that?
The tourist board, I mean, they do all sorts of activities such as cleaning the beaches and so on and so forth. Some of the hotels are better at this than others. This is one area where I think we are a little bit behind Dubai, perhaps, in terms of forward-thinking nature of the hotels. They've all got policies about don't have us wash your towels every single day, hang them up, and so on. And they've all got different initiatives around plastic use or single-use plastic, but there's no policy as an emirate, if you like.
Sure. Okay. So I said we were going to get a personal take from you. So take us through some of the key attractions and experiences that you would put on a kind of ultimate Ajman itinerary.
Okay, so for sure the mangroves, the kayaking is a great experience. It happens twice a day. You check through your concierge or however you choose to book it, but check what time, because the tidal flows will vary as you go through the year and the tides change. So, but it goes twice a day. Lasts about 2.5 hours. I'd also suggest that you go and visit the Ajman Stud, which it's owned by the Crown Prince. It is his collection, his private collection of maybe 200-300 horses. They're there purely and bred purely for their beauty. They're not ridden, and so they're just they're looked after for beauty competitions. And you'll be able to be you'll be shown the ones that have won millions and millions of dollars and millions of pounds for the Crown Prince. But it's just quite a spectacle to see the stables, because they're not like horse stables. They've got chandeliers, they've got air conditioning, they've got lots of staff. They're quite special stables, but you need the Crown Prince's permission to go there. So you check with your hotel concierge. And also, I'd just say, especially if you're staying in the Fairmont or the Ajman Sarai, you can just walk to the museum, and it's designed in such a way that it's not too onerous. It won't take you too long. It's about 50p, I think, for a guide, and then cross the road to the souk and come back to your hotel. So just spend a couple of hours and get a sense of the culture in Ajman as well.
Okay. And the culture, I know that's a key section in the guide to Ajman. So what other kind of things can people do to explore that culture? Is there anything that they can do that's more experiential?
Well, the museum obviously will tell you everything about how Ajman used to be, and the traditions and the goods and services that were used in Ajman many years ago. And that area has just been extended as well. So you can spend as little or as long as you like there. You can visit the mosque. This one, just check the times to make sure that you're not going to be interrupting a service or anything. But you can go to the mosque. But just in Ajman, going out of your hotel, and you're going to be part of the cultural experience anyway, just because you won't be surrounded by other tourists or expats. You're going to be surrounded by local people. So go to the fish market. There's a nightly fish auction there every night at 6 o'clock, I think. And it's just the local people working at the fish market selling and buying fish. And that's where the local restaurants would go to buy their fish products fresh. and you'll be very, very outnumbered as a tourist. So you'll get a good experience of local culture and local life just by walking around Ajman.
Okay. Is it easy for obviously it's safe, but is it easy to get around? How do you get around?
So if you're going into Dubai, for example, then most hotels offer a free shuttle bus service to Dubai Mall. So just take that. Otherwise, it's half an hour in a taxi to Dubai if you want to go into Dubai. Otherwise, yeah, if you're staying on the beach, again, Fairmont, Ajman Sarai, the Ajman Hotel, just walk out of the front door. There's immediately, you've got low-rise shops and cafes and an area called Marsa, which is nice. And then you go just beyond that and, you've got shops, cafes, restaurants, museum, the souk, fish market. So you can just easily walk around Ajman in terms of downtown Ajman. The souk is further away and the mangroves are further away, but 10-minute drive.
Okay, wow, it does sound very easy to get
It
around.
is. And having been to Dubai so many times, and you realise that it's not that easy, or the traffic can be bad on the Sheikh Zayed Road, or just staying on the Palm to get to downtown or to get to the old part of Dubai can take quite a bit of time, and it's a bit of an effort and a bit of a journey. But in Ajman, it's much simpler.
Okay, so going back to how agents would sell it. Obviously, you've given us lots of tips and insights there, but
Yeah.
How should an agent kind of approach it? I mean, obviously, it's probably fair to say that not many people would be coming in and saying, I want to go to Ajman. So would you
Yeah.
suggest kind of switch selling them, or suggesting a twin centre with another Emirates?
Well, if somebody comes in and wants to go to Dubai and they can afford Dubai and they know what Dubai's like, then they should go to Dubai, because Ajman is a much gentler introduction, if you like, to the UAE versus Dubai. So Ajman will be relevant if you're talking to a customer and you're not convinced that Dubai is right for them because it's too busy, it's too noisy, it's too crowded, it's too expensive, and actually Ajman can be a really nice alternative. But also think about winter sun, because we in Dubai, that's our peak season. Winter is our peak season. And so you might be looking at hotels in the Canary Islands, for example, but Ajman's price point might also compete with that. So just be a bit more thoughtful, if you like, around who might be suitable for Ajman. It could be an alternative to Dubai. It could be an alternative to Gran Canaria as well.
Sure.
So just be a bit, I think, open-minded about the kind of people that might choose Ajman, but remind them how close it is to Dubai as well, in case they, the thought of Ajman might be a little bit scary, having never heard of it, but you're 12 miles from Dubai.
So would it be, I guess, it's more for people that are going for the beaches and the sun than are going for the kind of city life?
Yeah. So Ajman is perfect for those that want to. You're absolutely right. Spend most of their holidays on the pool, on the beach, the natural sandy beaches that we have. Maybe a couple of hours each day going out for a walk along the Corniche or to the museum, and then back to their hotels. That's really it. Yeah. The odd things that they can do don't take a long time. The kayaking is a couple of hours. The Ajman Stud is an hour and a half maybe. But yeah, that's it. And if they want the big lights in the big city, it's very, very easy to get that. But it really is, for people that want a slightly slower pace, more authentic, I would say as well.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. I'm sure agents can obviously get lots of more information in the guide. And how are you working with agents? Are you offering fam trips? Can they request training? Obviously not in their agencies at the moment, but in the future.
No. Well, training, I can do. I've got a presentation that I would normally give face to face, but I'm happy to do that with anybody, like we're doing now, sitting at home. I'm happy to do that for those that just contact me, and I'll do that for you. We're running a fam trip. Everything's paused at the moment, but running a fam trip in September, and that's for bookings with Travel 2 as the incentive. So we're just looking at the top bookers through Travel 2 between now and September, and we run a fam trip. We work with MBR, My Booking Rewards, and so you can earn top booker every month earns £100. There's a online training with My Booking Rewards as well. There's lots of different ways that agents can access information, and hopefully win a place on a fam trip.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, fingers crossed that fam trip goes ahead as scheduled.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.